Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Another landmark decision by India to boost development in the nation's northernmost region. Home Ministry decides to create 5 new districts in Ladakh. Gaza ceasefire talks in Cairo remain inconclusive. Both Hamas and Israel reject each other's conditions. US says talks constructive, will continue to work to avert escalation. Bloody Monday in Pakistan as at least 23 killed in a militant attack on passenger buses in Balochistan in southwestern Pakistan. The second round of India-Singapore ministerial roundtable to begin in Singapore. Various aspects of strategic partnership and issues of mutual interests will be discussed at the meeting. India's western state of Gujarat braces for worst as heavy rainfall floods low-lying areas in parts of the state. Heavy to very heavy rain forecast until Tuesday prompts a red alert. In pursuit of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision to build a developed and prosperous Ladakh, the Home Ministry has decided to create 5 new districts in the Union Territory. The new districts, namely Zanskar, Dras, Sham, Nubra and Changthang, will take the benefits meant for the people to their doorsteps by bolstering governance in every part. Home Minister said that the Modi government is committed to creating abundant opportunities for the people of Ladakh. Jammu and Kashmir was bifurcated and Ladakh was created as a new territory on October 31st, 2019. Arun Sharma joins us on phone line. Arun, help us understand this development better. We tell our viewers that 5 new districts will be carved out in Ladakh. How important is this strategically and politically?
So, Preeti, this decision by the government to create 5 districts is going to play a significant role in inclusively, empowering the people of Ladakh. Because Ladakh in itself is very diverse UT. Now, if you recall, in 2019, we know this fact that after the abrogation of Article 370, 2 UTs were created out of Jammu and Kashmir. One was Jammu and Kashmir with legislature, and of course, another one was Ladakh, that was without legislature. So people of Ladakh, this was a long-pending demand of Ladakhis also, that there has to be some inclusive approach of the government, so that the funds that are being given to Ladakh, they can be better utilized in a better manner. So now, look at it this way, that as I was mentioning earlier, that how diverse Ladakh is. We were talking about Changthang. Changthang is a place whereby old and ancient tribes are still living there. And yak herding practices is there in this new district of Changthang as well. So yes, how can an infrastructure development be as similar to as in Changthang as well, as it is in the capital city Leh? So requirement of Leh is going to be different. The requirement of Changthang is going to be different, because people of Changthang, living Changthang area, they have their own requirement. More inclusive approach is required there. That's the remote part. It's ancient tribes are living there. So in that context, if you go to Nubra, it's the highest valley. It is situated on the highest altitude. So transportation is a major concern there. During the extreme temperatures over there, it gets disconnected from the other part of the country because of high extreme weather conditions, a snowfall situation. So yes, the administrative requirement of Nubra is going to be different. If you recall Dras, the new district that will come into force, Dras is strategically very important. If you recall 1999 Kargil War, Dras region played an important role. So the infra requirement of Dras is going to be different. So in a similar fashion, all these 5 districts that have been announced by the government today, the requirement, the administrative requirement are different. The demand of the people of these districts are different. So yes, this will give more inclusive approach. The approach of the government will become more inclusive. The funds will be diverted accordingly to the requirement or the needs of or the aspirations of the people who are living in these districts, and a better development will be will be done. Since Ladakh is strategically very important, it's a border area. We also need to develop our borders as well. The infrastructure development has to be done in that manner. So this, carving out of 5 districts in Ladakh will have a better governance. That means governance will be better, more inclusive in nature. This will empower the people of Ladakh in these different districts according to their aspirations, what they aspire for. If the district is located in more culturally inclined place, the development will be done in that manner to preserve the culture, to preserve the aspiration, to fulfill the aspiration of people of that area. And of course, if the area is of grass, we need to build more infrastructure there. We need to strategically develop that area. So requirement and aspiration of grass is different. So in this manner, this decision is going to be very much important. As far as the creation of these 5 districts are concerned, this was a long pending demand, and of course the government has fulfilled this demand as far as creation of these 5 districts are concerned.
All right, Arun, thank you for joining in with those details. And let's turn focus to other updates. That was the big news we were carrying this hour. Ladakh has been divided into 5 districts. And now we'll turn focus to other updates. In one of the biggest clashes in more than 10 months of border warfare, the Lebanon-based group Hezbollah launched hundreds of rockets and drones on Sunday morning. Israel's military responded and struck targets in Lebanon with around 100 fighter jets to thwart a bigger attack. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that strikes against Hezbollah are not the end of the story.
In major escalation in Middle East, Lebanon-based group Hezbollah launched hundreds of rockets and drones at Israel early on Sunday, while Israel launched strikes in Lebanon. Missiles were visible curling up through the dawn sky as an air raid siren sounded in Israel and a distant blast lit the horizon. Hezbollah said it had fired 320 Katyusha rockets towards Israel and hit 11 military targets, while Israel's military said it struck Lebanon with around 100 jets to thwart a bigger attack.
Most of our activity at the moment is in southern Lebanon, but we will attack anywhere in Lebanon where there is a threat to the state of Israel.
Footage released by Israel's defense ministry showed Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu watching on as Israeli jets launched strikes in Lebanon early on Sunday. Netanyahu said that military intercepted all the drones that Hezbollah launched at a strategic target in central Israel. Netanyahu also said that Israel would take all measures necessary to defend itself.
What happened today is not the end of the story. Hezbollah tried to attack the state of Israel with rockets and drones early in the morning. We instructed the IDF to carry out a powerful preemptive strike to remove the threat. The IDF destroyed thousands of short-range rockets. All of them were intended to harm our citizens and our forces in the Galilee. In addition, the IDF intercepted all the UAVs that Hezbollah launched at a strategic target in the center of the country.
Israel's army also released video, it said, showed its chief of staff, Herzi Halevi, overseeing military operations from an underground operations center in Tel Aviv on Sunday. On the other hand, in Lebanon, cabinet ministers and officials held a session of the National Emergency Committee in Beirut at caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati's house. Lebanon's caretaker economy minister Amin Salam said that the situation now relied on outcome of Gaza ceasefire talks in Cairo. Expectations of an escalation between the two sides had risen since a missile strike in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights last month and Israeli military assassinated Shukr in Beirut in response. Latest escalation between Hezbollah and Israel caused delay of flights in the region. Departing flights at Israel's Ben Gurion airport were delayed on Sunday morning, stranding worried travelers amidst ongoing rocket barrages being fired by Hezbollah. While travelers at Beirut Rafik Hariri Airport found themselves stranded on Sunday as some flights were cancelled. Air France too has cancelled its flights to Tel Aviv and Beirut until at least Monday. Israel's biggest municipality shut down its Mediterranean beaches as tourists and local residents said they were taking precautions in the wake of evolving situation in the region. Sunday strikes came as negotiators were meeting in Cairo in a last-ditch effort to conclude a halt to the fighting in Gaza. Fuzail Ahmed reporting for DD India.
White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said that the U.S. is working to avert an escalation of conflict in the Middle East following a recent exchange of strikes between Israel and Hezbollah. He was speaking at a news conference in Halifax in Canada.
We have been concerned about the conflict escalating into an all-out regional war since October 7th, and we have worked round the clock with partners and allies, moving military assets, engaging in intensive diplomacy, both publicly and privately behind the scenes, to avert that outcome. We continue to work to avert that outcome. And our hope is that the events of last night do not spill out into an escalation that leads to regional war.
Sullivan further said that the U.S. has remained in contact with its Israeli counterparts to share how the U.S. sees the situation, and said that the United States is still working in Cairo towards reaching a ceasefire deal in Gaza.
What I believe now is that it is incumbent on all parties in the region to work towards de-escalation and stability. And so we are feverishly working in Cairo as we speak with our team and the teams of the other mediators, as well as with the Israelis, to get to a ceasefire and hostage deal along the framework that President Biden laid out, to get calm between Israel and along that border between Israel and Lebanon, and ultimately to get to a broader circumstance of regional stability. And of course, we think that a part of that is a credible path to a two-state solution for the Palestinian people as well.
Peace continues to elude West Asia. While both Israel and Hamas delegation participated in Cairo peace talks, there was some tough bargaining on Sunday. Here's a report by DD India's Akhilesh Suman on what transpired.
The talks for ceasefire between Hamas and Israel took place on Sunday evening in Cairo separately, with Israeli and Hamas delegations talking to the negotiators. Hamas delegates talked to Qatari and Egyptian negotiators, while Israelis also engaged with the US delegates. The negotiating teams of United States, Egypt and Qatar converged and discussed the conditions put forth by both the sides. The main talking points were ceasefire as well as safe return of Israeli hostages from Hamas captivity. Both the sides could not reach an agreement and the stalemate still continues. Both the sides put some tough conditions during the negotiation, but as per the US officials present in the meeting, the spirit of the talks were constructive, aimed at reaching a final and implementable agreement. Hamas representatives participated in the talks after declining to come to Cairo earlier. Hamas put a condition that Israel should end its presence in the Philadelphia corridor, a narrow 14.5-kilometer long stretch of land along Gaza's southern border with Egypt. Similarly, Netzarim corridor, which cuts across the middle of the Gaza Strip, was also a bone of contention between the two parties. Hamas also wanted release of several Palestinians held in Israeli jails. How many hostages will be released in lieu of how many Palestinian detainees could also be not agreed upon. Hamas also wants Israel to withdraw fully from Gaza Strip. Israel has expressed some reservations on Palestinian detainees that Hamas is insisting on being released. Israel has further demanded that if they are released, they must not enter Gaza. While Hamas delegation has left Cairo, the Qatari and the US negotiating teams would remain in the city to continue and find the common spot that both the sides can agree upon. Akhilesh Suman's report for DT India.
In Pakistan, at least 23 people were killed in a terrorist attack in southwestern region after forcing them out of vehicles and checking their ethnicity. The Baloch Liberation Army claimed responsibility for the shootings. The buses, vans and trucks were stopped one after the other on a highway connecting Punjab with Balochistan. The attackers burned at least 10 vehicles before fleeing the scene. The BLA claimed that those killed were military servicemen. The incident occurred overnight in Kusakhail, a district in Balochistan, as per a senior police official. Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi called the attack barbaric and vowed that those who were behind it would not escape justice. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's office confirmed the attack on passenger bus in the province of Balochistan. Our correspondent Amrit Pal Singh is joining us on phone line. Amrit, spell out more details. At least 23 people were killed in the terrorist attack in the southwestern region after forcing them out of their vehicles and checking their ethnicity.
That's right. Those killed, there are 23 killed and 5 injured. These are said to be people of Punjabi ethnicity. It is right now what is coming out is that it is an ethnic killing, but really it is what the BLA or the Baloch Liberation Army claims is that they were army men, Pakistan army men traveling in passenger buses in civilian outfits. and they attacked the convoy because they were from the Pakistani army. The BLA, which is a terrorist organization which operates in the Musa Khel region and in wider Balochistan as well. But this particular organization has its stronghold in these 4-5 districts of Balochistan, of which Musa Khel is one. It is the highway connecting Balochistan and Punjab province. So they claim that they've killed about 62 army personnel, including 24 in the Bela camp, and they held the Bela camp for about, which is a camp of the Pakistani military, of the Pakistani army, for about 5 hours, and they killed 24 there and 23 on this highway. The targeted attacks on Pakistani military by Baloch separatist organizations, which are terrorist organizations, have been going on for quite some time now, and their Majid Brigade has launched an operation called Operation Herof, and they claim that this is a part of Operation Herof. Preeti.
All right, Amrit, thank you for joining in with those details. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Brazil's foreign minister to co-chair 9th India-Brazil Joint Commission meet in India. It will further strengthen the strategic partnership between the two countries. World-renowned sand sculptor Sudarshan Patnaik creates a beautiful sand art with a message of kill the evil on Janmashtami. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. In Bangladesh, at least 30 people were injured when clashes broke out between students and protesting para forces near the Central Secretariat in Dhaka on Sunday. The clash started following reports that the key figures from the anti-discrimination student movement had been detained by members of Ansar. Students from several halls of the Dhaka University gathered and marched towards the Secretariat area, demanding the release of the coordinators. Meanwhile, the head of interim government of Bangladesh, Professor Muhammad Yunus, said that the timing of holding a general election is a matter of political decision. He added that a free, fair and participatory election will be held in the country after necessary reforms to administration, judiciary, election commission, electoral system and the law and order sector. Foreign Affairs Minister of Brazil, Mauro Vieira, arrived in New Delhi on Sunday on a 4-day visit to India. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and his Brazilian counterpart will co-chair the 9th India-Brazil Joint Commission meeting. The meeting, scheduled for Tuesday, aims to further strengthen the strategic partnership between the two nations. The ministers will also discuss how the two countries, as Troika, can advance the key G20 outcomes from the Indian presidency last year. Brazilian Foreign Minister's visit will provide an opportunity to further strengthen the strategic partnership established in 2006 and also explore new avenues of cooperation in bilateral, regional and multilateral arenas across diverse sectors. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Jalgaon in the western Indian state of Maharashtra on Sunday. There, he handed over certificates to 1.1 million new Lakhpati Didis, or women entrepreneurs earning 1 lakh rupees annually. The Prime Minister also interacted with the beneficiaries.
लाखपति दीदियां बन जाती हैं तो उनके घर की स्थिति, उनका अनुभव कुछ और अलग उनको दिखता है। 2 दिव्यांग उद्यमियों हैं, उनको भी सपोर्ट किया है। मैं खुद लखपति सीआरपी हूँ, 3.5 से 4 लाख रुपए कमा लेती हूँ और मैंने अपनी दीदियों को भी लखपति सीआरपी बनाया। मैंने 207 महिला को अभी लखपति बनाया है। मैं साल भर में 8 लाख रुपया कमा लेती हूँ।
मेरे सखी मंडल का नाम है अत्युत्तमम सखी मंडल, जिसपे हम लोग हैंडमेड एंड होममेड ब्यूटी प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं जो सारी घर की चीजों से बनती है। सरस मेला है, वाइब्रेंट गुजरात है, मॉनसून फेस्टिवल है, उन सब में हम लोगों को इतना अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म दिया जिससे हमारे प्रोडक्ट की पॉपुलैरिटी बहुत बढ़ गई है।
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Prime Minister of Australia Anthony Albanese. Prime Minister Modi posted on X and echoed him, "Delighted to speak to my friend Prime Minister of Australia Anthony Albanese. We took stock of the progress in our bilateral relations and cooperation in the multilateral fora, including the Quad." The second round of India-Singapore ministerial roundtable will take place in Singapore today. The Indian ministers participating in the event will include Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal and Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. The ministers will interact with their counterparts and will also call on Singaporean leadership. The India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable is a unique mechanism established to set a new agenda for India-Singapore bilateral relations. The meeting aims to enable both sides to review various aspects of their strategic partnership and identify new avenues to further elevate and broaden it. India's Minister for Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal met with CEOs of various Singaporean companies on Monday. On social media platform X, Piyush Goyal said, and I quote, "Discussions centered around how these stakeholders having significant investments in India can grow further while contributing to the journey of achieving Viksit Bharat, that is, developed India by 2047. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has concluded his 4-day US tour. He visited the National Civil Rights Museum and interacted with the Indian community in Memphis, Tennessee on Sunday. The National Civil Rights Museum traces the history of the civil rights movement in the US from the 17th century to the present and is built around the site of assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968. Interacting with the Indian diaspora from Memphis, Atlanta, Nashville and other nearby areas, Rajnath Singh lauded the achievements of the community members and their contribution to society, science and economy. He described them as a living bridge between India and US, fostering close relations and goodwill. The Indian Coast Guard has revealed that it has conducted a swift night operation in which officials were able to save 11 lives through a coordinated sea-air search and rescue operation. The Coast Guard sprang into action after the MV ITT Puma, travelling from Kolkata to Port Blair, sank 90 nautical miles south of the Sagar Island. Despite challenging sea conditions, Indian Coast Guard vessels Sarang and Amog, supported by a CG Dornier aircraft, executed the operation with precision. The Weather Department has predicted heavy to very heavy rains in several parts of Gujarat until Tuesday. Amid heavy rainfall over the past 2 days, parts of Gujarat have been inundated, displacing hundreds of affected residents to safer locations. Navsari district faced severe flooding, prompting the Indian Weather Department to issue a red alert for the district. The water level of the Purna and Kaveri rivers is above the danger level. As a precautionary measure, more than 100 people have been shifted to safer locations. On to sports, Sweden's Måns Duplantis once again broke his own pole vault record as he cleared 6.26 meters at the second attempt at the Silesia Diamond League meeting on Sunday. Duplantis broke the world record for the 10th time, beating the 6.25 meters he cleared when retaining his Olympic gold medal in Paris earlier this month. Also, this was the third time this year he had broken his own record. Meanwhile, the crowd had already witnessed Norwegian Jakob Ingebrigtsen shatter the long-standing 3,000 meters world record with a time of 7 minutes, 17.55 seconds to beat the record set by Kenya's Daniel Komen in 1996. The 23-year-old was in shock when he crossed the line and looked at his time. And now we take you to the eastern Indian state of Odisha, where the world-renowned sand sculptor Sudarshan Patnaik has created a beautiful sand art with the message of "Kill the evil" on the auspicious occasion of Krishna Janmashtami. Enjoy these visuals. All right, on that note of creativity, we end this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app that is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Up your screens, you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.